The following opinions are solely those of BoatTEST.com and its test captain.
Hi, Captain Steve for BoatTEST.com, and today I'm going to do a sea trial and features inspection of the Hysucat 8.5 rib. Now, ribs are very light. This weighs just under 3,000 pounds rigged, so because it's so light, it should give a good fast ride. But ribs also have a characteristic of providing a little bit of a rough ride because they're so light. But Hysucat does things a little differently. This one is a catamaran, and catamarans are well known for giving a nice ride. And this one also has another unique feature, a hydrofoil going between the two hulls.
Clearly, the hydrofoil is among the most distinguishing features of this boat. As she picks up speed, this will serve to lift the boat and reduce the friction of the water and improve efficiency. In addition, with less hull surface in the water, the hydrofoil manages to knock down the one characteristic that is most associated with ribs, the rough pounding ride. Combined with the catamaran hull, this is without a doubt one of the smoothest, if not the smoothest, rib I've ever been on. Additionally, at the stern, there are two horizontally mounted fins. These serve multiple purposes. First, they reduce bow rise on acceleration. This seems pretty obvious even to the uninitiated. However, there's more to them. They also add high-speed stability. Without these, there would be a tendency to porpoise around the main foil. With these fins, stability is returned by stabilizing the boat, much the way a tail fin stabilizes a plane. As expected, with the 20 to 30 knot winds we had, the ride wasn't dry. Spray coming off the hulls will get picked up by the wind and blown aboard. It's simple physics. Trim has a lot to do with the handling characteristics. When she comes up, start adding trim for a couple of seconds and that should do it. Spray will go from the bow to the midsection. Adding more trim will have the now elevated hull from the hydrofoil start to feel like it's on top of a bubble and trying to roll off. Bring the trim back down a bit and she again becomes solid and stable. The more we drove the boat, the easier it was to see how the controllability is based on the trim. There's no getting around that this is a smoother ride than we were expecting. In fact, it's probably the smoothest rib I've ever been on, both because it's a cat and the hydrofoil providing that lift. We have a dual hydraulic setup for the steering instead of a single with a tie bar connecting them. But even still, I found steering to be rather firm. A power assist option would be great. And during turns, she clearly leans into the turn rather than staying flat like some cats. Hysucat stands for Hydrofoil Supported Catamaran, and overall, it means that you can pretty much forget about what you know of rib handling characteristics. This is an altogether new way to look at it, and in my opinion, it's for the better. In our test, we reached a top speed of 50.3 miles per hour at 6,200 RPM. At that speed, we were burning 24.3 gallons per hour for a range of 130 miles. Best economic cruise came in at 3,500 RPM and 23 miles per hour. That brought the fuel burn down to 5.6 gallons per hour and the range up to 258 miles, all in choppy conditions and while still holding back a 10% reserve of fuel in the bank.
Now let's take a look at some of the features.
We'll begin with the most obvious, since this is a rib, the tubes. They're made out of Valmex, and it's a pretty unique material. 4 layers of PVC are combined with a polyester-based fabric by melt roller coating. The resulting material is flexible, elastic, airtight, and resistant to damage, wear, abrasion, UV light, weather, high temperature, and dirt. I like that there are 2 steps leading up to the bow. It makes it a little more comfortable to work the ground tackle.
Fully forward, there's an anchor locker held closed by a lift and lock latch. I'd like to see an anchor keeper inside. To both sides we have pull-up cleats. Now this is hull number 2 for the US market. Future models will have this material replaced with new teak non-skid. Now because it's a catamaran, naturally we have a lot of space up at the bow. These seats start at 4 feet 8 inches apart and narrow down to only 2 feet 8 inches. And of course there's storage underneath. The foredeck area measures 5 feet 8 inches between the tubes. Just ahead of the console, a double-wide seat, 2 feet 8 inches across. There's access to storage inside. Future models will have bigger struts so that this will open wider, but we do have good access inside, and there's also an option for putting a porta potty inside. Stainless steel rails come down and secure to the fiberglass.
Each tube measures 1 foot 7 inches in diameter.
The helm is mounted over to the left side of the console with the Suzuki engine gauges just ahead. All the push-button switches are lighted when activated. There's a 10-inch display over to the right-hand side so the observer can help with the navigation. VHF just underneath. The engine controls are mounted almost vertically, and just on top of the panel, there's a space for mounting a compass that I would like to see moved over in front of the steering wheel. Ignitions are just below the panel. A stainless steel grab rail surrounds the console. Windshield is smoked to drop down the glare.
These Biscaya model seats are made by Ullman, and they're designed to protect the crew and passengers by optimizing body posture while progressive shock mitigation takes care of the comfort level. Handles on the sides of the headrests add to the ease of use, and most importantly, we found that during high-performance turns, the seats allow the occupant to squeeze the knees and lock into position, thereby allowing the strongest muscles in the body to maintain a safe ride. These seats offer higher backrests, longer saddle sides, extra padding, and of course, those grab handles.
At the stern, there's wraparound seating, 4 feet 9 inches across, and of course, there's storage underneath. And again, notice the stainless steel side rails. We also have 2 mounting points on each side for an optional arch. Looking at the stern, there's a raised tow bar bringing the line up between the 2 engines. Now, to be clear, there are multiple configurations that are available for the Hysucat 8.5, up to and including a touring model that has the console moved back and plenty of seating up forward. All you have to do is ask, and that's my full features inspection and sea trial of the Hysucat 8.5. For BoatTEST.com, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.